Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Practical Pet Chat with Lauren Groh and me, Robert Semro. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. So many things going on in the world, so many things in your world, our worlds. Lauren, thanks for joining this. I've got a good one today, and I know you and we've talked about this in the past. Um, the pet world is easy to love. The pet world is easy to make a difference in. And yet, folks are often not sure of what's that first step or how can I really help or this or that. And it's so much easier to help in the pet world than I think people realize. So I wanted to spend some time today talking about some of those opportunities that anybody, regardless of your status, your financial position, anything can make a difference because whew, we really need it in the entire world, but especially in the pet world these days. So you were involved with a lot of pet rescues. I've been involved with a lot of them. Currently, I have family members involved with pet rescue. I just want to say, for all of you doing that out there, we know it's a commitment and we appreciate you. But I also want for those of you who are out there going, and that's why I can't do that, Rob. There's a lot of things that really don't take a lot of time. And hopefully, Lauren and I will expose some of those to you today. Because once you start to learn, and I'm going to share a quick story. I had someone reach out this week who, as many of you know, I've done Pet World Insider and the Photographer for decades now. And a rescue reached out to let me know they had received a donation based on a video that I did almost, 8 years ago now. And someone on YouTube had watched it and they were like, wow, this is so, incredible. If they're still around, I want to make a donation. They did that. God bless you, whoever did that. Really appreciate you for doing that. But that is one of those things where I have long since moved on from that. I appreciate those things that we did. But just doing that 8 years ago made a difference recently. And I get those same kind of comments with other videos. So I'm going to start with the easiest one and then I'll hand it over to you. But that is just share the good stories, share the helpful things that you see going on. You may not think it makes a difference, but someone out there is going to be touched and moved by it. So start there and let's go on from there, Lauren.
Yeah, so you started off with making a difference in the pet world, and we've moved on to rescue. So those are two different things. So for
Sure.
the purpose of this, I'll focus on rescue. Um, oh my gosh, there's so much positive and negative with rescue and the hazards of being involved with rescues is that you can really see some of the negative come out in people. You know, they want to bash the efforts. They want to bash you didn't do this right. You didn't do this the right way. You should have done this. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you call this person? How come this? The easiest thing in the world is how about you start with some positive support? If you're following a particular rescue, adding your 2 cents worth of negativity on their post or their page or anything like that doesn't help the animals a bit. So, I see so much of this in the rescue world. It's tragic,
Yeah.
because it's humans getting caught up in humans, and it's really not about the humans. This is about the animals that we're trying to help, that whoever is trying to help. And you go through some of the comments and it's like, oh my God, please, can we just focus on what the rescue's point is? Can you help this animal? Do you know somebody who can help this animal? Can you help in any way? Can you donate anything? Can you provide some food? They have an Amazon page of things that they need. Is there anything that you can help with on that? Can you share the story? It doesn't require financial commitment, so that would be great because there's never enough of that to go around, but not everybody can do that. So just sharing the story with some positive words. But I work with still enough rescues that I keep tabs on that it's like all kinds of four-letter words come out of my mouth because it's like, why? What is the point? You've done nothing here for the benefit of the animals. You don't let you weren't out there in the middle of the night. You weren't out there, in a scary part of town. You weren't laying the trap. You weren't, pulling treats out of the back seat of your car so you could try to lure an animal, to get them off the street. You weren't pulled over on the side of the freeway. So to sit there and to criticize just doesn't forward the positivity at all. If you find something about it that you think your 2 cents worth of negativity can improve on, get a hold of the rescue separately and say, hey, did you think about this? I promise you they've thought about it, and probably what's holding them back is manpower and funds. So,
Yeah.
if you don't want to do that and you just want to be your keyboard warrior self, you just don't have time for those people. But there are so many things too that can be done. It's a difficult thing to follow rescues because it's a constant it's a constant tearjerker all the time,
Yeah.
and it makes you really, I have to be careful because I get so irritated by the casualness of humans who take on animals, any animals at all, under any circumstances. And they don't think about the follow through of that. And a lot of times that's what rescue will highlight, usually in comments. It's usually not the rescue, but it's like you've been in a situation, I've been in a situation where each of us have adopted animals that have been thrown out of cars. And it's a terrible story. And it's a very quick and easy thing to go, that crappy human, okay, it's not about the human. We know the human was crappy. So let's focus on the dog. What can you do? You and I did the same thing. We took those dogs, and I'll be honest, I suck at fostering or finding an animal a home because they just end up staying with me. I'm a foster failure in the worst way. So I don't foster because of that, because I recognize that in myself. So I don't foster because every animal that I've sworn I was going to find a home for lived with me until the end of time. Um,
Right.
so it's important for you to recognize your shortcomings. If you can't follow something because it just eats at your soul, it makes you cry, it's too much um horribleness for you to deal with, find other things you can do. You probably have a local independently owned pet store in your area that does something with a rescue. Go over there and find out which rescues they work with. What do they need? You can work through the store. You don't have to follow any of the negativity. I used to do something in my store in November that was one good tail wag deserves another, is what I called it. And you could come in and you could buy a bag of food or cans of food or whatever for your own animal. And then you could buy a bag or a can or whatever you wanted for another animal. And we would make sure the rescue got it. Bought a bag of treats for your kid. You could buy a bag of treats for, the rescue. And they use every bit of it, because there's never enough of it. Things like I'm a blanket hoe. Confessions. I'm a blanket hoe for animals. I love blankets. I love baby
I
blankets.
love that you bring that up. I love
Yeah,
it.
I love that. But the fact of the matter is, I currently have over 300 blankets, and I bag them all up. And the places you can take them, not just rescues, but even if you're not the person who, gets involved with rescue at any level, take them to vets offices
Mhm.
because there are a lot of vets, there are a lot of shelters, that can use, especially some of the pounds. It's cold in a lot of areas, and just having something for a baby to snuggle up in, makes all the difference. It's a little bit of comfort. You don't want to do that, you could drop it off at the office. You could take it to a vet's office. A lot of the vets will do it. Take it to your local independent store. They'll get it there. And these don't have to be, these don't have to be, you know, you don't want to do that, you could drop it off at the office. You could take it to a vet's office. A lot of the vets will do it. Take it to your local independent store. They'll get it there. You know, and these aren't, these don't have to be, these don't have to be, you know, they just need to be clean. They don't have to be in perfect shape. They can be tattered, they can be worn, they can have some holes in it. There's a where I live now, every year it gets cold where I live for a minute. But every year the shelters beg for blankets and sheets, whatever you have, any kind of bedding, anything that we can keep these kids warm while we get through this cold spell.
Right.
And people step up. So there's a lot of easy ways to get involved that don't require you to turn a blind eye, that because you can't handle it. And I get that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you can't handle it. It's hard. I I've spent many times in tears. I've gone with rescuers to emergency rooms when they've tried everything to save an animal and they've had to put the kid down, and I've shown up to be there with that rescuer so that they wouldn't have to face that alone. And it's awful. It's a terrible thing to do, but not everybody can do that. And that's okay that they can't do it. But maybe you could donate um, towards the euthanasia, or donate towards the little urn, or there's so many things, and you don't have to be there, and that's the sad side of it. Just trying to get these kids through until they find a home. Too many people think that they have to step up and foster, which we need fosters. I don't want to minimize that. We are
Yeah.
always in desperate need of fosters everywhere in this country, some places more than others. We need fosters, but it's okay that not everybody can do that. I see posts all the times in the um, everything for free kind of neighborhood groups, and they'll post a crate. And it's like, oh my God, does that crate work? If the crate works, please call somebody at a rescue. They'll come pick it up off your doorstep. They need crates. They need so many strollers. How many people get a stroller and then they don't need it anymore and they turn around, they want to sell it for 20 bucks? Really? That's 20 bucks that you could essentially have donated to this rescue, and a senior dog's life will be changed with that stroller. There's so many different things that people don't think about, just in the day to day, that they get rid of. Fans, you don't need those fans anymore. A blade is broken, but it still moves. It's maybe not as cool as it always was. You're going to get something new. Donate it to a shelter, because they can turn those fans on in the summertime for those kids. X pens, the fold out pens, the baby gates, all of that. There's so many different ways that you can step up. Things that expire that you're not comfortable with. You've got food that expired last month. It's still good, trust me. And the shelters will take it. Brands donate expired food all the time because it's perfectly safe. So there's so many different things. What can you do? The list is tremendously long without you having to. And that's what people need to think about. What can you do? How often can you do it? Just change your mindset a little bit and, say, I can't donate financially, but I can do this. I can't donate time, or finances, but I can share posts. I can't do that, but I could go walk a dog at the shelter. I can go sit with a dog at the shelter. I could go pet some cats.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you don't have to really do a lot of anything except provide comfort. And comfort comes with a million different labels.
Well, and I love that you're doing that. If my smirky face showed up on screen there when you said you can go pet a cat, literally, while we are recording this, that is what my wife and daughter decided to do today, was just go and be there in the room with some cats. And literally a photo just showed up. And um, I love that you bring that up because it can be as simple as that. They need walkers. They need socialization. That doesn't mean you have to go fall in love or anything like that. They just need that energy. They need to be around, and that helps them become more adoptable. And so all of those things that you just hit on, I love that. By the way, apparently we will need, for all of you wondering, you don't need to send emails to practicalpetchat@gmail.com. I will do an episode or an intervention, whatever we need to call it, for blankets with Lauren Grow. Um,
Blanket hoe, self-confessed blanket hoe.
we will say, but here's the funny thing. My sister and I talk about that a lot because she lives down in Texas as well. She donates those types of things on a regular basis as well. And we'll collect them from our friends. And it's like, here you go, to the shelters because they need those. There's so many simple things, as you said, um, and most of them don't actually cost any money and they don't have to take up a lot of time. Think about if you just did that once a month, what a difference you'd be making. And I think as I talk to folks, it surprises me because they think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do that, every week, or I just, it's like, hey, they'll take whatever you can give them. And I love, my daughter also crochets and does other little things. You know, the amount of times where it's like, I'm crocheting a blanket that I'm going to donate to the shelter. I think of all the fun things, and I'm like, wow, we've got the senior center, what kind of projects are they working on? There's just so many different things, right? That you can think about how can that benefit beyond my thoughts and here into the pet world. Little yarn balls, little this, little that. Wow, there's so many different applications that I would not otherwise think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of where we are too. In you can reach out much further, much more often than used to be, and your reach goes that much further when you're sharing. Um, and yet, for whatever reason, it also seems to have created this hesitation from folks. Like, if I do this one time, either I'm going to get hit up all the time to do it, or I'm
Oh no,
listen.
you will. You'll get hit up all the time, but you can
You'll get
say
hit.
no.
Yeah, you can
You
say no.
know? I mean, and
Yeah,
don't let people guilt you out. You can only do what you can do. But if you notice, if you look at people's websites, it seems to be one extreme, not websites, but social media pages. It's one extreme or the other. You either have people who do nothing but share rescues, and that's all their feed is, which is, man, that's tough. That's
right.
tough to handle when you're the person looking at that. It's a constant bombardment of how horrific this whole thing is in this country with regard to and to our rescues. Um, or you have people who don't share anything.
Sure, sure. Well, and I think again, to keep this on the positive, there are so many things that you can do passively,
Yes.
and you know, look for that. Look for that. I'm guilty, by the way. I I could not. I can't be a foster because I also take on that deep responsibility of if I bring a being into my house, I'm
Yeah.
responsible.
Yep.
And so we've had that, and and I've been snookered by the ladies in my household who are, no, Dad, no, honey, it's okay. We're just gonna foster, and I've got a bearded dragon in the other room right now that I probably spend as much time as anybody. Although I must say, I have fallen in love, and she is my snuggle and calm me down animal, ironically. So you never know. Have an open mind, right? Um, but beyond that, I like what you talked about with the supplies too. You don't think about how many different things. I love that you hit on the fan thing, right? Like when you're thinking about that, oh, I don't need this, or I'm just going to donate it, or I'm going to. There's a lot of things that you don't think. I got to be honest. I didn't think about the fans and how important those are. Yet I've been to plenty of rescues over time, and you're right. I mean, and I'll look and I'll be like, wow, they have really had this fan for a long time, and it's such a great call out. So many different things. The bedding, all of it needs to be cleaned, but it doesn't take a lot. And hey, that's something you throw on your, AirPods and listen to your favorite, podcast, Practical Pet Chat maybe, and clean off that and donate it. But I also like too that you hit on something here with the Amazon. Listen, it doesn't have to be Amazon, it can be your favorite, online retailer. All of them have these wonderful charity outreaches available. And some of them even will even connect. They'll donate from a portion of your purchases to different charities. Um, One of the things that I've seen with employers over the past, especially past 5 years, is this matching donation that they'll do up to $100, $250. Some of them go up to $500. And I know that's where I've taken my money and extended that. What a great way for employers to show, hey, we do value your entire family, not just your two-legged, but four-legged and your passions to whatever. So if you're an employer out there and you're in that total rewards department, that's another great idea for you.
Yeah,
Really encourage your
definitely.
folks. And I also see even 1 day PTO for the employees to go and participate. You don't have to work with the animals. We were just talking about sometimes it's organizing, sometimes it's, hey, the grounds that we walk the animals in, they could use a good, once over. You can help with that. And I know folks who organize those things, and it is remarkable because it doesn't matter if it's a public shelter, private organization, public organization. They, as you said, they all need help and would welcome you. So think about all those different things.
Well,
But
and think about too, a lot of shelters, not shelters, but a lot of rescues and I think some shelters, but um things that you would normally take somewhere to donate or might even trash because you just didn't want to be bothered with it, still perfectly functional and usable. A lot of these rescues, they sell stuff on the side.
yeah,
It may not be specifically animal related, but they sell stuff on the side because they're trying to raise money to buy the things they need to take care of the rescues. So you need to check. You can check with your independent store. You can check with the rescues that you like. Hey, do you take this? Because when I moved here, I had a whole bunch of stuff for animals. And then when I was talking to her to coordinate pickup, she's like, "We'll take other stuff too." And I'm like, "What other stuff?" And she goes, stuff that normally would be for humans. I go, "What do you do with that?" She goes, "Well, we sell it. We have like a little auction site or a little,
yeah.
sell site, and then people can buy. It has to be used, working condition, but clean, And I was like, "Oh, wow. I didn't know you did that." And so I went through again and re-looked at everything and thought, okay, if I'm not going to keep that, I mean, this was two birds with one stone too, because I didn't have to figure out what to do with it, where to take it, where it could go. I was benefiting what was nearest and dearest to my heart, which is animals. And a rescue and animals were going to win-win on this, and so then she came and picked it all up. It was fabulous.
Well, I love that you bring that up too, because one of the easiest things, and it's something I do a lot, to the detriment of my dresser and closet. Um, but I probably have 30 some odd hats and t-shirts from different rescues that I'll see they've done something. I don't want to get involved necessarily, but I want to say thank you because, again, nearest and dearest to my heart, these animals. And I'll go and they've got a little, online store and they've got cool looking t-shirt, a hat, whatever it is. And I'll be like, sweet, I'll do that, you know. And in fact, I should start wearing some of those shirts. Um, I love that. It's such a great call out because you're right. There's a lot of different ways to support these organizations. So
To
yes,
tell you my favorite t-shirt that I've practically worn thin and this rescue didn't make it anymore before I even moved to Texas. This was fate. Um, I saw this particular rescue that another rescue I followed was sharing, and it was a rescue in Texas, in Austin to be specific. And they had in their little store t-shirts that said dogs, beer, and tacos, which are the three most important things in life. So I was like, I have to have that. I have to have that t-shirt. Well, I got the t-shirt, loved it so much. The rescue is on the back. It was really well done. It's a really soft t-shirt. It was great. I bought my husband a couple. I bought a couple more for me. Everywhere I have worn that shirt, and I wore it last year when I was at the day before opening for Super Zoo because there was setup and stuff like that.
Sure.
But everywhere people are like, oh my God, I love that shirt. I love that shirt. Where did you get it? I got it from a rescue. Turn around, show the back for the rescue. It was fantastic. Those catchy little things like that, you get a really cool t-shirt, the rescue wins, they get advertisement, to your point. I love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and think about it this way too. If you're a graphic artist out there, what a great way to do something nice with a skill that you have, a skill set that
Mhm.
you got. I
And
I
add
have a
to your
t-shirt.
portfolio.
Yeah, I have a t-shirt. I have two. One is a tortoise one is a ferret one, from rescues that I have worn to death. And then I have mine from, I will say, a wild animal park down in my neck of the woods in Southern California. And it says, "Save the chubby unicorns." And it's obviously a rhinoceros, but I wear that out, and people are like,
Obvious to me. Wait a minute.
"Oh, save the chubby." Yeah, it says, "Save the chubby
That,
unicorns."
that was I couldn't get the visual on that.
I'm
So
aware of that. That's why I said, "Hey, why am I wearing these nice shirts?" I'm wasting an opportunity to, as you said, promote all these different
yeah,
organizations.
yeah.
And so that's what we're talking about, folks. Just open your mind. Open your mind. There's so many simple ways. You may not think wearing a shirt is going to make a difference, or wearing a hat. One of my favorite hats, Digging Danes. Well, what's that about? Gems and crystals, and she's got Danes. And people ask me all the time because they like the look of it. And it's like, oh, wow. So if you're a graphic artist, and even if you're not a graphic artist out there, again, we all love sharing cool things. Share that stuff. So a lot of different ways. Look, we're all passionate about the animal world. What social media should be about is sharing the positive things, sharing
Positive.
good. Yeah. And unfortunately, everybody just gets too derisive, too, negative. And I'm not immune to that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really trying to be cognizant of, I'm trying to stay focused on the positives. I want to make a difference. And I started this off by sharing something that I did long ago, and it's still having a positive impact. So when you think about, well, is it going to make a difference? Who knows? It's the ripple in the water effect, right? I don't
Butterfly effect.
yeah, it doesn't have to make a difference today to have been worthwhile, because it may make a difference down the line. And if you're a parent out there, I see it in my kids all the time, and I see it in my kids' friends, and they'll reference something that they saw or heard that I was a part of at some point many, many moons ago. Or, oh my gosh, I remember as a little kid looking at the photographer book, and we used to read that for bedtimes. That's not why I did it. I don't know why I did it, but that wasn't the main intention. But that was a positive impact. Just take that step forward to do something. There's something out there that you all can do. If you're feeling a little bit down, the best way to feel up is to go do something positive for some other being. There's a pathway for you. Doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to take a lot of time. It's just an effort to do something positive, and you'll see yourself lift up as well. So thank you for all that you have done, all that you will do, because I think that's the other thing. The amount of times that I meet folks making a difference and they don't get thanked, and I'll say on those, and I do this a lot of times in my interviews, I'll say, hey, I want to say thank you not only for taking the time to meet with me today, but for making a difference. And for all those who've made a difference who don't get the chance to say thank you, thank you. So for all of you out there doing that today, and doing it in the past, and or doing in the future, I want you to know Lauren and I, we appreciate you. And thank you for joining us here on Practical Pet Chat.
Thanks, guys.
The content of this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as, nor should it be construed as, professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment for your pets. Always seek the advice of a qualified veterinarian with any questions you may have regarding your pet's health or medical condition. Never disregard professional veterinary advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. The hosts and the guests of this podcast are not liable for any actions taken based on the information shared during these episodes. Any reliance on the information provided is solely at your own risk. Copyright 2025 Practical Pet Chat, all rights reserved. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or reproduction of any content from this podcast, including but not limited to audio, scripts, and show notes, is prohibited without prior written consent. The opinions and views expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Practical Pet Chat.